I'm Amber Dremel, and I decided to do the Hmong culture for my oral interpersonal communications class. I really wanted to know more about the Hmong culture and why they decided to come to the U.S. and settle here. Some different things I'm going to go over with you are some key values, experiences, achievements, do's and taboos, communication patterns, important information, and my works cited. For thousands of years, the Hmong culture settled in the southwestern of China. It wasn't until later on that they immigrated here in the U.S. Funerals for the Hmong culture, they typically would start on a Friday and they would last until Monday. On Monday, that's when they would bury the deceased. I found that was very interesting because that's not something that we do here in the U.S. The men in the family are responsible for physical, spiritual welfare of the family. They have a system in making decisions that involve the clan leaders. The husbands might consult the wives before making some decisions, but more than likely they make most of the decisions, and they will make the announcements when it has to do with the families. Another value is that there's 18 Hmong clans, so there's many different last names that they could have within the Hmong culture. Experiences, the sacrifices that they made to help the USA, that was why the young Hmong people have immigrated here. The United States recognized the sacrifice made by the Hmong soldiers to fight for the U.S., began accepting Hmong refugees in the United States in December of 1975. Do you know where they first settled when the immigrants came here in China, or from China?
Wisconsin?
It was in Milwaukee. It was the first place that the Hmong family settled in at. So it's very close to us. Some achievements. On August 11th, 1992, the Hmong Culture Center of Minnesota registered with the Minnesota Secretary of State Office as a nonprofit organization. And then since 1975, the Hmongs have made economic progress. So they're helping our economy in different ways by having different jobs available, and they're accepting jobs maybe at a lower rate of pay. Do's and taboos. Some do's are they try something new, so they're always willing to try new things. Just to ask more about the culture, just to get to know more about who they are and what they do. Some taboos, they helped the U.S. during the Vietnam War. I wouldn't feel comfortable. They said that they wouldn't feel comfortable dating someone within the clan, but wouldn't know if I would entirely disagree. So what they're talking about is that sometimes they will marry within a different clan and the name would change because there are so many different clan names that sometimes they wouldn't know who was involved in their clan as well. It is believed that the Hmong culture that when a son or daughter gets married, it's best to avoiding consumption of any kind of spicy pepper during this time. So at their wedding, they won't have any spicy pepper, nothing like that. That's something that's kind of forbidden for them to have at their wedding. So I thought that was kind of interesting. Communication patterns. As you all know, that it's very hard to communicate with some Hmong culture. What I found is that one way that Hmongs show respect is that when the communication, they may not look directly at your eyes. They may look off, elsewhere when they're talking to you. The Hmong people do not want strangers to touch them, especially their heads, due to the religious beliefs of being that's the most sacred part of their body. So when you see a Hmong person, they're more likely not wanting to give you a hug or more apt to maybe just shake your hand due to their personal beliefs, and that's what they like. The Hmong language is their primary language. At times, their children will know more of the English language than they would. And sometimes their children are the ones that teach them the English language, or there's that language barrier, and so their children are their interpreters. They try to be kind and are non-offensive. They are very kind people, and they don't want to come off as not kind people. Important information: the Hmong first arrived in Minnesota in Milwaukee in late 1975. According to the National Census in 2010, 14.5% of Hmong Americans held degrees at the college level or above, compared to 31.4% of non-Hispanic whites and 50.2% of non-Hispanic Asians aged 25 and older. So they are making strides within our community, and they are trying to get to know our language and get to understand who we are as well, and where we come from and what our cultural beliefs are. I found some stories on the newspaper online. I also found the Hmong Culture American within Minnesota. There's another website that I used, and I Googled quite a bit of it for research, and I read a lot of news articles and learned a lot of information. But I really did enjoy learning about the Hmong culture. It got me a little more familiar with who they are and where they come from, and those language barriers that we have with them. Do you have any questions?
No.
All right, well, thank you very much.